All right, guys, we're back here at Pure Muscle and Fitness. I'm Kyle from KolpinTraining.com. Today we're going to hit a leg day.
Ain't afraid to face the madness. Run straight into the blackness. Less preaching, more practice. I'm addicted to the act.
Hey guys, so like I said, today we're going to be hitting legs. We're going to start out with a giant set, back to back to back for our quads, move into some supersets for our hams, and then a couple of calf sets afterwards. All of those sets are going to be done for 2 working sets, about 8 to 10 reps. If we can hit more after that failure point, we're going to try and push out as much as we possibly can. Okay, just a note before we get started. Notice this lovely little scar here I have on my knee. It has been mentioned in a previous video. I did go down about a year ago. Well, actually not even a whole year, about 22 weeks since surgery at Joe Brandt here in Burlington, and what ended up happening was I tore my quad tendon. It ruptured at about 96%, so not enough to have my quad shoot all the way up to my hip flexor, but enough to pretty well impede every aspect of my life. When that happened and the quad tendon itself ruptured, the LCL went with it, so we ended up with a full rupture coming around in horseshoe fashion and straight down to about the back of my kneecap. So, you know, I kind of got the news for that. They did an ultrasound. It was an immediate surgery, nasty surgery, bled like a sieve, got out of there, all doped up, but the medication just wasn't enough. The pain was out of this world. And since then, I've been working with Shed and Physio on Trafalgar in Oakville. And Dr. Dana there has been doing amazing work with my knee. You'll see him in some of the physio videos that we've shot. But progress is kind of a difficult thing. Now they keep telling me that as I progress more and more and more, eventually I'm gonna make it to a point where that strength just shoots right up. And I kind of feel like we're getting to that point now, which is why we're shooting this video. Otherwise, trust me, the content would be rather pathetic. But we're gonna give it our best today and really push out quads and see if we can really get this bad boy firing.
Nothing's gonna save you from the fallout. I got you where I want you now. Nothing's gonna save you from the fallout.
Okay, so what we're gonna be doing here today is a monster set between all 3 of these items. We're gonna come over here, it's a unilateral leg press. We're gonna try and push them both at the same time. Bear with me, it is difficult when I do that, as one leg does tend to explode a little quicker than the other. Then we're gonna move over here to our hack squats, likely tied knees down, exploding through. And then we're moving here, do some sissy squats until we absolutely fail and die. Warning, there might be some vomit. All right, first one, we're gonna be doing this unilateral Lannis leg press. You're gonna sit in the seat, we're gonna have the seat elevated. Guys that like to sit it back, it's a support. We want to keep as much tension on the quad as we possibly can, so we do want to have that seat pushed forward. Bum's going to stay down flat, glutes down flat, feet are pressed in, relatively low, about inside shoulder width apart for distance. We're going to press straight out with our heels, flexing the quads, adding that counter resistance through the heel as we come back. Going to get about what most would consider an 80% range of motion, but I tell you right now, when you start to come so far down that the knee itself elevates, the femur elevates, and it forces the hip to displace and lift off the chair, I've actually gone a little too deep, and it's going to take from the contraction because you have to use other muscles, including your back, to throw into that and re-engage. Usually by the time that individual has re-engaged, they've already gone about 30 to 40% of the range of motion, so they do tend to lose that. So we are going to stay within that contracted zone, keeping those sets constant. Then for the hack squat, we're gonna pop in here. Gonna go for about a 2 to 3 second negative, slowly bringing the weight down, sitting in our heels, shoulder width apart. When we're doing this, we're really gonna try and focus on the outer sweep of the quad, get that tension in there, come down nice and low, pause for a second, and explode up through the quads, coming to what we hope is full contraction, lock of the knee, with a big squeeze and flex of the quadricep before we slowly drive it back down. But make sure that when you do lock the knee, you're not shooting the knee as you start to come back down. You're just slowly sitting back into it. In order to do that, you will want to imagine yourself sitting all your weight into your heel and your glute. as you slowly start to re-engage through the negative. See, squats, the last one here. Don't let it fool you, there's nothing sissy about these, especially after you've done those other exercises. Popping in, having your feet placed firmly underneath the pad and against the back. We're just falling back as slow as we can with the weight, engaging the quads, engaging the glutes, keeping our feet nice and close together. You will feel the VMO start to hyper engage. That's this muscle down here, right to the inside portion of the knee. So we're gonna come down into that point, shoot up, and back down. When I come up, I'm gonna come up to about 98%, and then without dropping too quickly, I'm gonna stay in that contracted zone until that burn builds up beyond belief. Then we'll drop it out. Always remember, before you're sitting down for a heavy set, starts in the mind, moves to the heart, pushes through the hands and the feet.
Sure you mention me. Top billing on the top dog. History of my pedigree. Some say I'm a handball, others say I'm a standout. Hands down, it was hard work. Never needed a handout, no. I gotta shine hard, so I grind hard. Whoa. Overtime plus the time card. Shooting star, I'm gassed up. Yeah, I don't need no rocket ship. Time is money, is well spent. Use common sense. I'm excellent, excellent, always excellent, excellent.
Alrighty, next up, now that we've done that monster set, we're gonna do superset back to back, lying hamstring curls. We're gonna force our body down, make sure our hips are firmly placed down, glutes are as tight as we can. It's gonna tilt the hips down and in. Engage for that first inch, nice and slow. Fire up into contraction from the heels, squeezing the hamstring as tight as we can, and then slowly lengthening to a near full touch, popping back up again as we fail. I'm gonna start to pump out at about 80% rep range. I'm gonna superset that over here with our standing one leg ham curl, same idea, except we're gonna dip the hips down as we elevate. Too often what happens here is people elevate their hips and then shoot. You don't want that. It's gonna have you engaging your erectors a little too much. You wanna make sure that your hip is dropped and that the heel is bringing the weight up to get maximum tension on the bicep femoris and the rest of the hamstring. Let's get at it.
I'm so excellent, that's my name, yeah. Always excellent, I never change, yeah. I'm so excellent, 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 always excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm so excellent, that's my name, yeah. Always excellent, I never change, yeah. I'm so excellent, excellent.
Okay, and last but not least, we're gonna be moving on to seated and standing calf raises. It's imperative when you're doing this exercise that you get the full range of motion. When we go down and start to elevate, we wanna roll from the ball of the foot closest to the big toe, and then we wanna bring the big toe up as high as we can, almost like a ballerina would stand while she's on stage. So you really wanna drive and force up as high as you can onto that big toe to get optimal contraction at the peak of the calf. The seated here is going to work the soleus, the standing afterwards, the gastrocnemius. A lot of guys put excess focus on whether their toes should be pointed in or pointed out. And I'm gonna give you this advice right now. When you're doing your calf raises, keep it straight and get perfect at the basics before you start worrying about where your toes need to be angled to optimize contraction in one angle or another. Kind of irrelevant, just make sure you're going through the form correctly, getting a big squeeze and really getting that stretch through the eccentric. Okay guys, that's an altered leg day here with Kyle at kolpintraining.com. Don't forget to like, comment below on what you enjoyed or what you want to see in the future, and subscribe to this page to see all our videos with all our tips and tricks. Have a good day, guys.